Welcome. This video serves as a resource for anyone working with a Roberts Wesleyan teacher candidate. Whether you are faculty or a clinical educator out in a district, this video will help everyone involved have common expectations around unit planning. This is the template we use at Roberts for unit planning. It's formatted in this way to be reflective of best practices around planning. It's also similar to or aligned with many curricular materials out in our local districts. When working with a Roberts teacher candidate, always be sure you're working with the most recent planning template. Our most current unit plan template is dated August 2017, which was our last update. You'll see it in the title up here. So let's take a look at each section to see what type of information should be included and how it should be formatted. To begin, students need to put a title and a grade level for their unit and then how many days they anticipate that their unit will take. We generally suggest that a unit may be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, but of course that depends on the grade level that they're planning for. In this section, students need to put all of the standards that they're working on. So whether they are the Common Core or now the next generation learning standards for literacy, in addition to any content area standards, they all need to be listed here. In the Enduring Understandings and Essential Questions section, we encourage students here to think about those really big ideas that permeate the entire unit. They're not really ideas or questions that can be answered in just one lesson. So they could be statements if they're enduring understandings, or they can be questions if they're listing them as essential questions. But there should be a few, not a ton, listed in this section. Critical content and skills is really a big piece of the unit plan template. What we teach students is they need to unpack all of the standards that they've listed up here, just as any teacher would in a district getting ready to do curriculum work. And then in this box, they need to list all of the critical content that comes from those standards. And then in this box, they need to list all of the skills that come from those standards. So between these two boxes, students should really show that they fully understand everything that all of the standards they listed here will entail. These two boxes can be listed in a bulleted list. The next main section is materials and resources. So here in this first box, students will list either the complex text that they're using or the central text, whatever the main text for the entire unit might be. There could be more than one, but this is the central or main text. Down below, students will list any related short text or supporting text that they may use throughout the unit as well. Here we ask students to list instructional technology that will be used. We really do encourage them to use instructional technology throughout their planning. It shouldn't just be a one-time thing. So there should be a pretty decent list in this section here. And then finally, any graphic organizers or worksheets that may be used would be listed here as well. This last section is for vocabulary. Students need to think about what Tier 2 vocabulary words will be used or taught to, and then what Tier 3 vocabulary words will be a part of instruction as well. These words shouldn't be laundry lists of words. Rather, they should come from the standards listed above and the text that will be used in the unit plan. Next, we move on to the assessments. We do expect students to list all of the formative assessments they would use within the unit. They may not need a ton of detail because they're not writing a lesson plan for every day of the unit, but they need enough detail to show how they plan on formatively assessing as they go within the unit. So there should be several listed here. The summative assessment, there should just be one. This is the main end of unit, hopefully performance task that students will plan. We teach students this needs to directly align with or stem from the standards listed above and should tie back to these enduring understandings or essential questions. Again, this should just be one summative assessment for the end of the unit. Now we move on to what we call the calendar. Students will, first of all, list however many days there are. We have 10 in the template. Obviously, students can add or take away depending on how many days they anticipate their unit being. But for each day, they need to list what the learning target is for the day. After the learning target, they need to, in parentheses, write what standard that's addressing. So the idea in that is that they should be able to look down this entire column and see that they are addressing every standard they listed above. What this really does is encourages students to look back at that list of standards and make sure they don't have 20 standards listed, but rather the more focused standards that their unit will be addressing. This next column for each day, they'll put a daily plan or instructional strategies and learning tasks. This is by no means a full lesson plan, but here students can list any strategies they might use within their lesson, how they anticipate the gradual release might be, what they might do in the I do, the we do, the you do. We do expect a decent level of detail here to paint a pretty good picture of what that day's instruction will look like. But again, it's not a full lesson plan. In the next column, they need to show how they're assessing for the day. So again, we teach our students whatever the daily likely formative assessment will be, it should directly stem from that learning target. And then finally, any resources they might use, whether they are any of the texts listed above, any of the graphic organizers, instructional technology, anything they might use needs to be listed here. So when students then go back and take a look at their calendar, again, what they should see, not only should every learning target list a standard that ties back to the standards listed above, but every learning target should be a stepping stone or should lead to whatever that summative assessment might be.